Hey everybody, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? Please don't forget to put the like button, click it. Subscribe and share if you find this information valuable, and if you get anything from my work, a connect, a dot, an epiphany, a mind explosion, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider supporting my work. All the links are at the bottom of the description. It helps me keep the channel up, keep things flowing, and me fed. I got a lot. Okay, hang on. Hang on. I knew that was going to happen. I got a new type of pyramid I'm working on. See the layering in there? There's a lot of layering in there. I'm like in love with this concept. I put larger gems in. I got some selenite in there. I got a lot of gems in here, but it's like larger. Yeah. So I got a lot of new pyramids I'm working on. Not necessarily really, because I'm running out of epoxy and that's really expensive right now. So I'm doing with what I have. But yeah, that was something I was working on, this in an experiment that I actually highly like. Not on my website just yet, but if you're interested in any of my artwork, I have lots of pyramids in stock, different sizes, different properties. I have a lot of artwork, cheap, nothing crazy expensive, I promise. And that's just because I want people to enjoy and have good frequency in and around their surroundings. AllyKatkreations211.com. Email me if you're interested, because I do everything privately. Okay. I held up the law of one. So I never finished I was only on book 3 with my insights. And today we're going to do my insights. We're going to carry on. I think the last one I did was a year ago, possibly longer than that. I don't know why I left the law of one and then put it down. I don't know, but there's always a divine orchestration when it comes to me reading my books and the information that I need to receive in divine timing. And then I just impart it on all of you. Well. Buckle up, buttercups. It's gonna get juicy. And I just listened to Brian Scott a little while ago. I cried for how many things were validated. Because as light workers, as way showers, as starseeds, as divine beings, we all get our different perceived knowings, streamings, and sometimes they're a little different from other people, and sometimes they are spot on with others. And boy, it just makes me feel solidified in knowing that all the difficult things that are going on in my personal life, all the things that are really testing me in the hardest ways, is actually helping bring higher light into my essence and helping humanity shift. Even though it sucks and it hurts and I gotta purge more, I've been going through waves of it, but I'm also being attacked, and I'm under the awareness of this big time. I'm being attacked. And not to say that I'm allowing it to happen, it's a catalyst for me to test my abilities, to make sure I'm doing my work, that I'm protecting myself. So there's like a whole slew of things happening in this time of now. And I'm not alone in feeling attacked or feeling like things are just falling away. Understand it's all having a purpose, and sorry, being spoken to. Abilities are coming in very high for a lot of us, and don't deny them. Um, it doesn't like I'm doing a video. So basically conveying what I just received. All the trauma, I did a TikTok on this. A lot of the trauma we're all experiencing is like karmic stuff, but being purged from other selves, higher selves, concurrent lives, or in other dimensions. We chose to take on a lot of this shit because we knew this avatar meat suit would handle all of it, but it's a lot more than I think even upstairs can admit that some of us can take. So it's coming into the acceptance that we need to chill and just let things be and write it out for what it is, but continuously keep going and give yourself some grace and compassion. I know for me, I'm in like a free fall of just everything around me is free falling. Um, the harder aspects of this free fall is that I feel I've been feeling invisible. I'm throwing myself out there to help because I unconditionally love, and I do a lot of good deeds for other people. Yet I don't necessarily receive the appreciation, the energy exchange back. Um, I don't receive the support. I'm not asking for financial support as much as I am asking for a like and a share or a mention, right? That's not hard to ask, but apparently it seems that way. I'm on a different page, and a lot of us are going to start having this issue. So that's why I'm being asked to speak about it. Whatever section of life you're in, whether it be a job, whether it be family, you're going to experience this invisibility. It's like the hermit stage. And yes, it all equates to the book, I promise. This stage is more for introspection, but also shifting. You're shifting, and a lot of us are doing it first so that we can usher other people in. The harder aspects is this hasn't been done before in physical form. We got to this point, it was noted in the Brian Scott with the Arcturian message I just, but it also in Suzanne Ly's work, same concept. We already been there and done that with Atlantis, but we just weren't harvested. We did not ascend. We got to the level of understanding, of experiencing, of being in the light body, less densified. We were Homo luminous back in Atlantis. The differentiation we have to make is that we did not, well, many of us were volunteers there as well, and we went back up into higher form. We came back down to carnate again for this time now and some other lives because we were being anchors of light and holding up the grid for the planet to polarize positive. Well, I'm going to get into what I'm going to convey through the book, but that's why I'm mentioning this, is all of this culmination of fucking hell. Okay, animosity, anger, frustration, feeling invisible, feeling like no one gives a fuck. And that's not the truth. But the people that you are doing a lot for are not reciprocating that back. Those people are eventually going to fall away. I do the best that I can to seed my truths in a way that aren't going to disrespect or overstep somebody's learning process. I'm not here to do that. I speak what's in here and I give it raw. If you want to accept it, great. If you do not want to accept it, it's not your time to. That's great. But in a lot of ways, a lot of people just dismiss it. It's not that they don't align with it. They might not align with it, and that's okay too. But they didn't even go into their heart space to know if it was right for them or not. And that's where we need to start, at a starting point. Picking up from where I left off from the book is really knowing yourself, knowing the paradigm you belong in, the ray of source God that you are from, because we're not all from the same rays, the same frequencies, the same broadband. If you think about okay, let's make this easy. You just graduated out of AOL and now you have the internet, and there's a million browsers that you can choose to get your information on and work your computer from. Not just the operating system, browsers. And I'm on one of those browsers that very few people tap onto to get their information. And that's because it is a more difficult to understand operation. But eventually, more people are going to go back into my browser because they're going to find what they need to help them move forward. That makes better sense. That's kind of what I'm trying to convey. It's damn difficult sometimes. Humanness. I might have touched on this in the last video, years ago. Okay. But new perspective, fresh perspective. Humor me. Law of One, Book 3. This is August 8th, 1981, session 65. And these are my insights. I only quote raw maybe once or twice. And that is because you need permission from LL Research to outrightly read the information. And I don't get responses from very many people. I am a little known in terms of the material 3D world and convey messages. So my insights. The questioner asks Ra about changes in physical third density due to some effects and changes to the planet which spring forth paranormal activity, seeking to know if it is a catalyst. Before I read Ra's response, I've been seeing what I was able to see as a kid. From a child, I was able to see demons and aliens and horrible things. Never bothered me. I was more curious about them than anything else. I was desensitized at an early age. But I am now seeing things peripherally in my vision and sometimes straight on. And I haven't been able to do that I have moments, and if I really tap in, I could see, but I have more of a knowing and a feeling than a seeing. And now my sight is coming back online. And not all the time is the scary stuff there to it's a catalyst for you to realize what is in the other realms. It's not necessarily there to, woo, you know, and frighten you. It's there to show you what is reality, what you're dealing with. And it might not be there to attack you. And if it's there to attack you, it's to teach you how to go within and protect yourself. All serves a purpose on God's green earth. Okay. All serves and has a purpose. When we are not conscious in the now moment of why things start happening and why we're bruised and why we wake up sweating, and a lot of us do this. I have talked to a lot of people that have these experiences. It's because you're battling. Many of us are warriors up there, and it's not to say that after fourth you're really not fighting anything, because it's not there to be fought with. It's a different perspective, and we only have a limitation of what we perceive and comprehend here on this planet. Many of us have that expanded consciousness to know there really is no evil and there's really no good. It's all neutral. And you're coming out of your heart space wanting unconditional love, harmony, and compassion for all things, all beings, all peoples, that it negates and null and voids the negative. So Ra replies that paranormal events aren't necessarily designed to increase seeking, that they are manifestations of those that vibratory configuration helps enables those entities to access the gateway to infinity, intelligent infinity. Carlos Castaneda kind of talks about the intelligent infinity. He calls it other things, but it's a notion that all exists. And for that side of the astral plane that comes the paranormal activity. And paranormal doesn't need to mean spirits either. It could be telepathy, telekinesis, conducting electricity by just a thought, like putting a flame on a candle like that. And not a glamour, not a magic trick. Like, people are actually able to shift the atoms, the photons, the neurons, the glues, all those things. They have the ability to focus their will and intention to shift the energy around an object to make a bend. Or we can just go to the Matrix and do Neo and say, well, the spoon really isn't there anyway. It's just an illusion. Gotta love Ra. Ra also adds that there exists possibility vortices towards bellicose actions. Nothing of nuclear. Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, okay. Nothing of nuclear war, but so-called conventional warfare. If formed in your illusion, has the opportunity for those seeking service. Okay. I touched a little bit upon this on the TikTok, but the next one I did read. There goes Ruth Montgomery with the earth changes and the things that are happening in our reality that we are now cognizant of. We are cognizant that certain things are playing out. There's a certain script being played, a certain timeline that the mass majority of us are seeing. That doesn't mean everybody's seeing it consciously. That the possibility is what he was talking, what I was talking about with predictions and people who could prophesize. It's a potentiality, a probability, possibility vortices that Roth speaks about. That is a very important thing. In one of the sessions, he talks about like going to the store, that everybody needs to eat, and what you put in your cart is up to you and your free will. But the idea and concept that everybody needs to eat is the same. So the earth is shifting. We're all shifting with it. We're all helping manifest this shift and changing the timeline so it's less bumpy. And that is inquiring a lot of us to go through a dominion of hell, emotionally, physically, to purge, but to bring in higher light, we must go through the suffering. That's what we chose for ourselves. The idea of a prophecy or someone speaking something into an existence is a predictive programming sort of way of, here's a potentiality. Now let's see how many people focus on it enough to manifest it. But if it isn't in your highest timeline to be manifested, it won't manifest the way you want it to, or it won't manifest at all. It's how many people are going to eat the same cereal and the amount of cereal with the same milk in it. And each and every one of us has a different perception of what things are and how things taste, and the different types of cereal that you could choose from. His analogy is very highly interesting and a little skewed for me, but it makes sense. Sorry, like I said, I was told that a potential entity might be making its way into my life, and I think it's here. And I have a infestation of flies that I constantly have to keep killing. Fun times. And helping them move on. And yes, I have the gamut of things that will take them out. Fun times. But he's saying there is the bellicose, meaning negative actions, nothing of nuclear war. So we've been told this on many different occasions. Jason Q touched on this in the last WeNotMe episode, not today, the one before this, that basically things were taken off the table in hush hush kind of mode, not just from the aliens, but hey, we know what you got. You're not going to use it. But Rod does add that guerrilla warfare, that fascism and controlled social common ownership would stimulate a large sum of contemplation upon great polarization, implicit in the contrast of freedom and control. What that really is looking like is that we're seeing this right now, that we have a lot of us who want to be free, and free of not just tyranny and fascism. We want to be free of the whole fucking smackdown. We're tired. We're done. I don't want government. We need law and order. We need law of nature. We need the laws of the universe. But it's to a point at this moment in time that I'm done with this. I'm done with the movie that is a perpetual movie that's going to continue. And who we think might be good might really actually be bad. I won't put that out there in a who, because that's what everybody clings on to. Stop clinging. Doesn't matter who JFK Jr. is, if he's even alive, or who's playing who. Doesn't matter. Those are insignificant things. Actually, the Arcturians are saying, yeah, as long as you give love and compassion to all things and you move away from the notion of all these entities trying to get at you, which makes you the victim, stop victimizing yourself and move into your empowerment to make your own reality, then you don't have to worry about these things anymore. And I've been better headspace for doing that divine neutrality, seeing both sides, not like condoning what they're doing, but I'm not feeding them anymore. And they're not really a part of my paradigm. And I'm happy for that. More of us need to get there. The light of freedom will burn within capabilities of such polarization. The seeking for inner knowledge would take root brought from those which remember their calling upon this sphere. It's up to us to shift and bring in the higher light to shift humanity. And there's a lot of us now that are starting to grasp this concept. And as we are working on ourselves, we are helping humanity, we're helping Gaia. If we help ourselves in a narcissistic way and in a way that is not impeding the light, yeah, I'm getting channeled a lot tonight, so I do apologize. I mean, I've already cried like twice today. And not in a joyous or sad, I just high frequencies. What they want, okay, upstairs. Those of us who are starting to remember or have a knowing of remembrance, we understand the call that is being made to do the inner work, so we are anchoring the light into the earth. And that in part is the lighthouse shining your GPS signal to help others who might not be in the here and now cognizant awareness. When you are putting your toy rotofield out there, other people are picking it up and they're getting the light and they are starting to activate. Okay, not everything is tangible. I deal in a lot of the untangible world, and so does so many of you. And it's not easy to convey something you don't have tangible evidence of. Though we are seeing a lot of destruction happening around the world with volcanoes going off and hurricanes hitting and megaton of tornadoes. And yes, we've had seasons where there was a lot of tornadoes. Okay, I don't know. This might be the topping year of tornadoes. And the destructive ones, not the little pew-pew dust devils. Like very destructive weather occurrences are happening. Yeah, is there a manipulation? Sure. But at the same time, a lot of it isn't manipulated. It's Earth itself. It's a consciousness clearing and cleansing itself, because she's shifting with us. And to take that a little further, as the channeling from the Arcturians earlier tonight was saying that not just Earth, we are all tasked. All of us were tasked to shift, and it's not just Earth. We are shifting the fucking paradigm, period. And sorry, I'm using F, but I'm very passionate about this topic. We're shifting all planets, sun, moon. And listen, if it's the land beyond, it's shifting. Venus is shifting higher. Venus is already on a higher density. All the planets are shifting. So what we are equating what they are, the astrology is a tool, like I've said, but it's going to shift as we shift, because the meanings won't have any footing here. Because we're shifting and maturing and defining our world differently. We're defining consciousness differently. We're coming into unity. Things are shifting. So eventually we're going to have our astrologers have to rework the densities and dimensional spaces each planet is inhabiting. We only have astrology in a 3D plane of existence. Our awareness and understanding from what all these civilizations before us told us about what those planets mean. But those planets are going to shift in meaning. Just something to put into perspective. So once we know that what is going on in our outside world can be changed through each and every one of us going inside, doing the work, bringing in the higher light, we are shifting the possibility, potentialities of things not being so catastrophic. And it was already mentioned in Ruth Montgomery's work, The World to Come. Her guide said it, you guys shifted consciousness, you elevated your frequency, and now it's not going to happen the way that we saw it the first time. And this is continuously speeding up in time, space, linear, that we keep shifting because more people are waking up. And I'm going to go now into the serial thing. So the questioner brings up Earth changes, mentioning Edgar Cayce. He asks about the mechanism of prophecy that value that may stem from such. Ra mentions us going to different stores to make purchases of food for a week, that possibility, potentiality vortices, with understanding that such are cans, jars, or portions in a store. Ra states peoples shop hither and thither. Only some items one choose will be available. So, you know, when you go to the store and you have a particular liking to something and it is out of stock, that happens a lot, then you have to go to another store or just throw your hands up in frustration and say, okay, maybe next time, or compromise on something else. The focus is the strongest vortex when it comes to Edgar. It's a preferred choice. So breakfast is a certain. The type of cereal, the different varieties aren't certain. Ra also stands, like I do, that when prophesizing, the measurement of time frame is different. Biases and distortions accompany much prophecy. So as it's like somebody like me who sometimes has foresight and insight into future potentialities, that is what it is. But you also have to take into account an agenda, a bias that someone already has programmed within them. So someone is of a specific religion and they have the gift of prophesying, it's still under a religious bias of projection that they're coming from. And whatever the person already has within them that is distorted, we all are distorted in certain ways. We all have biases. Even if we have the ego death and we let a lot go, there are still ingrained things that steer our projection of what might come out, be it unconscious. Why, when people pull certain tarot cards about the future, I don't necessarily trust it. I've been to a medium that I highly align with, but when they talk about my future, barely any of it comes to fruition because I change constantly what my highest timeline is. I keep shifting and shifting and shifting. So my story changes, the role that I play changes. The expanded consciousness expands. So I'm not at the frequency of that. When that reading was done, I'm in the here and now. But like, let's say in a few weeks, something like a catalyst triggers me to like implode, but like shift, to heal, and to get compassion, and to be more loving towards myself. Something shifts and I raise my timeline. So do so many other people like me. Don't grab on to when someone's projecting, yeah, this is going to happen because the card said it's going to happen. Okay, it's a potential that it may or may not happen. All those dimensional spaces too, when people remote view, it's the multiverse, sweetheart. And guess what? That choice you didn't make is being played out on another multiverse in milliseconds. And in the next shift, it's hard to conceive. Dolores Cannon talks about this stuff. So how many multiverse versions of you are there playing other roles with other people? It's mind-boggling. There is no way to actually pinpoint everything perfectly. Even what's his name? This is gonna bother me. Give me a minute. Kim Clement. Some of it's right and on target, and some of it isn't. It's not to say he was not a conduit of source. We all are. He had a higher fractal source running through him, absolutely. Not all of his stuff was projected in the time that he said it was going to happen in. Things shift. Some stuff is on it, but in time frame shift. So that's just something that, like, you know, when I was rereading this for like the third time, it's validating what I'm hearing from other people and how the multiverse, the quantum world works, how we're only in our two little eyeballs here perceiving just what we are in our outer world, first person view. When we're able to actually project out and see from above and see how things are being played out, you're getting a broader, expansive set of encodings to see the bigger picture. So Ra goes on to speaking on wanderers. He says the aim to serve the people of this planet in whatever way was requested. The other aim was to hold their vibratory patterns, which might lighten the planetary vibration as a whole, ameliorating the effects of disharmony. Light and love go where they are needed. He's validated so, I mean, he was probably one of the first channels, a little research to say this, but it's the absolute damn truth. We are scattered amongst the wind. We live in so many different countries, so many different states. We're not necessarily close to each other. And for really good reason. We're holding the light in the grid And a lot of us had to I was forced to move because there isn't much light in my area that I am living now. I'm the anchor here now where I was in New York, and a lot of people, a lot of light workers live in New York. They're holding the light. My light needed to move because there wasn't enough over here. And I'm a very high lumened lighthouse. And that's not to say other people aren't. There are so many of us scattered across the world who feel very alone and like, how are we going to meet our soul tribe? We're so far apart. And I know in the communities we are finding each other, but I don't think a lot of people, I think people are still in development stages of not understanding a bigger picture. And in time, I think more of us are going to come together and work together. I absolutely believe that. So don't give up hope for those of you who are the anchors who know you, a part of your missions, know your purpose here on this planet, and that's everybody's purpose. You are to be the lighthouse. Some of us have the awareness that we are the anchors and that we are the lighthouses. More and more people are going to pick up that understanding. The channeling I just listened to was talking about how we, instead of Atlantis, which was like the human combustion thing I talk about all the time, we brought in ascension way too quickly, and not everybody that was meant to go went because it was too much in the same time. This time, as we are back at the point where we were in Atlantis in terms of ascension and shifting, we chose the slow turtle crawl out into this. Because the last time we've experienced it, we didn't make it. Many of us did not ascend. We were not harvested. Many of us tried to help humanity. It didn't quite work out the right way. And I think regardless of what and how it sank, it doesn't necessarily matter. What matters is the fact that this is another opportunity for us to do it, and we're doing it in a slow progression of stair steps. A lot of us who are aware of this stair stepping, we're on a higher step. That's only to help other people. Hey, come on, get up here with me. That's our role, and we chose this. That's our purpose. What's interesting as I touched, I don't know if I touched, I didn't rewatch the other video. A lot going on today. I think WeNotMe was on for almost 7 hours. So couldn't do much with my day with that. A lot of questions about wanderers. Ruth Montgomery, I'm reading another book right now. I'll get back to her. Different ideas of what a wanderer is, but walk-ins as well. But for whoever knows that they are one, the way the law of one projects it out, know that you're activated and you're here. And that's the most important aspect of all of it. It's very complicated and I was like sitting there going, well, if my soul is 6.5 density, like how does this equate into what Ra's saying? We progressed since this book, 1981, right? So maybe Quo will address it again, because Quo is a part of Ra's social memory complex. Maybe we'll get some answers from Quo. Love Quo. But yeah, We came here to dispel a disharmony. We came here to be beacons of light. We didn't come here to judge everybody and to feed the negativity. It's a loosh for it to manifest itself. And once you're aware that you're feeding negative energy by saying, I hate these people and I want them dead. Well, no, just don't incorporate them in your paradigm and just send them love and move on with your life. That's the test. The test is all is source. All is source. All's expressions of it. So how can you hate another group of people that you don't intimately know? You're only reading documents and papers. And yeah, some people are horrible. That doesn't mean all of them are. Yeah, people do horrible things to children. Things happen. That is what they signed up for. You know, I'm going to put a pause on this for a minute because there is something I want to convey. For anybody who has a loss, someone that physically died in their life, I'm finding it harder and harder to say my condolences or I'm sorry for your loss. And it's not because I'm being a cold bitch. It's because I am not feeding the fear of death anymore to other people. I'm not. My parents, I had so much loss in my life, and it's just loss of a physical vehicle. I celebrate their spirit, their transmutation, their journey. It's just a journey. They were done with their mission here and they left and they're having fun. They're happy. They're watching me. They're helping me. They're very much a part of me now than they were when they were here. And I think I'm actually closer to both of my parents, 3 of them, in fact, than I was when I was alive. And I don't even know my birth mother. I don't see death the way that most people do. And it's a program to see it as fear and you don't want to die. And it's an attachment to this physical form and materialism. I understand that. Go Valhalla. Like Freya could come and pick me up any moment. I'm going to be happy as a pig in shit. Because it's just a transformation of energy. I know where I'm going to go and it's going to be a beautiful experience. And I'm excited to get there when the road crosses me and I cross it. And however, in the manner I wrote in my death. Great. Bring it on. When it's supposed to be divine timing for it. Can't escape fate. You wrote the manner in which you are going to transcend. That might be physical death. Nothing wrong with it. People should celebrate passings and death instead of mourning it and grieving it. Yeah, it hurts. It sucks. But we got to come into a detachment state to stop being attached to all things. When you die, what are you taking with you? Your energy, and that's all that you can take. You can't take your necklace or your ring or your books. You can't take your animal. They're already there in spirit with you, by the way. You're up there already. You are up there already. There's multiple forms of you. And it's hard for me to convey this when my condolences is like, well, no, be happy. They transcended. That's what they wrote for themselves. Everybody's still stuck on, oh, someone took this. Why the F are you continuously judging other people for the choices that God made through them? Everybody's all religious and talks Yeshua to me all the time. Jesus is your savior. Yeah, that's great, but you're still judging people. That's not very godlike. Why does it matter at this point what someone else is choosing to do to their body? It's their choice, it's their free will. They wrote it in as a catalyst for them to have change or to have some event happen that shifts them. Why would you want to impede that process? It's a lesson. We're here to learn and have experience. Ra clearly brings that out the entire book series. Like it's just God creator knowing itself more through you. Sorry, shit sucks. And I think a lot of us that are in this awareness feel it harder than most other people because, yeah, I'm aware I chose this. All I have to blame is myself. I stopped being the victim. When things start shifting in a more forward movement, more of us will have the assistance of other people to guide and help us. I know for me right now, I feel like I'm on an oasis in a desert in the middle of the ocean with very few people getting my Wi-Fi signal to even have my distress call be served out. It's not fun to feel that way. When people collapse, you really see the best in humanity or the worst in people. It's a choice. And it really gets very discouraging when you're at this, you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere and your smoke signals aren't reaching land just yet. And you're suffering, but that was supposed to be to help anchor in brighter and bigger light. It's not the easiest concept to even comprehend, to even understand at some points. But know for all that we are all going through, it is necessary. And it's slowly helping the rollout of people going, that doesn't make sense. How is somebody an expert in the Constitution and allowing what has already been playing out the last 30 years to be able to be played out? I don't know, especially the last two. Like, how is this even happening? And military not acting on the Constitution, even though, like, what form of the Constitution are they following? Or is this just like a made up fascist world that there's an illusory world on top of an illusory world? There's a lot of things that, oh, well, listen, there's a cog. Well, it doesn't matter when you take an oath to something, you should uphold your oath and the laws that are written. Oops, I said that part out loud. But in the grand scheme of things, what are we learning? In a short amount of time, so give yourself some compassion. Each wanderer has their own unique abilities, biases, and specialties, so that a portion of each density represented among the wanderers has pre-incarnative talents that can be expressed upon the plane in the now, which gives a special service to offer doubling effect of planetary love and light, also serving as a beacon or shepherd. Many of us! Hi, guys! Hi! I'm an artist. I make organite. So does a lot of different other people. We each bring our own frequency into our work, whether you be a musician, a poet, a writer, a builder. Okay. You bring in your own frequency key that's only unique to this vehicle and you. There are people that quilt. There are people who garden. There are people that have inventions, people who are tech wizards. All of us have unique and beautiful gifts, not just for healing and psychic work and mediumship work and other things of that nature, but just your everyday life. You have to incorporate the fact that you still have a third dimensional contract with Source to play through you. That doesn't stop. Okay, we already shifted and forth, but we still have to play out our contracts, our karma. We still have to do the healing. There's no getting out of the healing and the work, and it's a continuous cycle. In every density and every form that we are, the learning never ever stops. The experiences, the catalysts never ever stop. It's a perpetuation. Different feeling, different perception, expansion happens. But in the here and the now, each of us have very unique specialties that are being brought to the forefront. Each of us, I mean, there's a million people that read tarot cards, but everybody has their unique spin on it, their unique frequency. Not everybody likes my oracle card readings. Not everybody likes my artwork. It's fine, right? Everybody, though, contributes their special gift to this world. And don't say that you don't have one. I call BS on that shit. Each and every one of us who are alive in this now moment has something to bring to the table. Period. If you haven't found it or haven't really explored because you're still stuck in materialistic 3D paradigms where you're not exploring hobbies or things of your highest passion and excitement, you got to find what is exciting and passionate to you. Like when I do this 3D job that's coming up in the middle of August, yeah, it's a third dimensional job, but I know where my service to humanity is. It's with the children. And that is an anchorage point for me to be in the location where I'm going to be, because I'm going to be the best help for children who have abilities, who are on the spectrum, who are potentially a harm to others because there's just a lot of energy that they don't know how to ground. And of course, in this three-dimensional world, I can't necessarily speak out, oh, sweetie, like I see that you're seeing something, let's talk about it. Can't do that, but I can hold space and I can manipulate the energy around the child to protect them. That's my gift. It's to the children. Besides doing what I do here and every other type of thing that I put out there, I am seeding people to heal yourself, to go in and explore yourself, to have different perception, to expand your thinking. You don't need to agree with me on everything, and that's fine. No one's saying you have to. I don't want you to. I want you to go here. Every one of us has a gift. And there's multiple gifts within that gift. I like to expand my gifts, but I know the uniqueness that I am, and I walk in that authenticity. I know I am different. I signed up to be different. I signed up for this crazy gothic shit show that I am, but I own it. I own it. Like you owning you. That's a lot of, if Rock can come back and channel again, not as a social memory complex, but what he was doing back with LL Research and Carla Ruckert, I bet you he would be saying very similar things. He was only going based off of questions. But I think the crux of the work that comes through is saying how special we all are, and don't throw that away. Acknowledge it, own it, walk it, be proud, not in a conceited, like flaunting way, but in a way that empowers you to use what tools God and you decided to get this lifetime. We get in our own way with the chatter and the indoctrinated programming in our minds, the AOL dial-up that just doesn't want to go away. You know that sound. If you are my age and a little older, you know that sound. It's highly effing annoying. But think about how expansive you have come since you were born. And even the last 5 years, how much expansion, how much have you gained in that time frame? It's exponential. I know in the last year, I have quantumly jumped several different times. More aha moments than I can even give myself credit for. We have to get out of our own way, though, because the Bible says that people like me are the devil. That stops a lot of people right there in its tracks. It was a misinterpretation, and it's an allegory on top of that. So I'm not the devil. I know what I am. I know what I signed up for. And many of you do too. And the people who embrace the darkness, they're just holding the darkness for us to discover the light within it. We got to go in with those flashlights that illumine everything and brighten those people up. But without the darkness, without going in the darkness, you don't know how to appreciate the light. It's all meant and has and serves a purpose. All of it. All of it. Ra also states, thus there are, and this is quoted, quote, thus there are those of fifth density whose abilities to express great wisdom are great. There are fourth and sixth density wanderers whose abilities to serve, as we shall say, passive radiators or broadcasters, lighthouses, of love and light are immense. There are many others whose talents brought into this density are quite varied, end quote. He's saying the same thing that I have said in just different terminology. You're broadcasting your frequency out. You're the lighthouse. What is that? You're shedding your light, your frequency, your vibratory state on other people by just being. You don't even have to do anything. That's fantastic. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing, Allison. Just be happy. What makes you excited? Going and doing those things that I put out on TikTok, writing poems, like getting it out of you, but like going on new adventures. Like I went to the cat cafe. I still don't know the status of that cat. I'm very devastated actually about that. That was really crossing my mind today. Like this is already like too long for me not to hear back on what the status is. Anywho, But I went that day and I had a blast. I get up every day and now I'm doing some working out because my body is, I'm not ground, like I have 1,005,000 different ways to ground. And now my body's requiring me to do some workout and sweat it out and get my lymph nodes and everything, my physical body moving a little more aggressively. So I've been doing workouts. I'm still looking for a park that's safe to do walks. So maybe once or twice a week, I change it up and go for a walk in the morning. All these things brings new adventure. What will make you happy? And if you don't know, go out and try different things. I honestly used to go in Staten Island to the different parks with my friends and just vent. But we would walk doing it, and it was such great exercise. We got to see beautiful landscapes, be in the middle of the vastness of Staten Island. But a lot of the times I discovered places and different paths and trails because Staten Island is the borough of parks. It's, Staten Island is gorgeous, besides the dump in the middle, but now that's a park too. Go figure. But I discovered a lot and got to ground a lot in nature doing those walks. And I really enjoy doing that. And it doesn't matter if it was just me or with friends. Obviously, I don't have people here to do that with me, but find something that doesn't cost that much money. Like I'm still looking for a park with adult swings. Find something that you are going to be passionate about and excited about to do, even if it doesn't work out. But now that's not what you prefer. There's never an opportunity that is wasted if you are trying to do something new. Not all the time are you going to like it, but now you tried it and it's not for you. So you move on to something else. But you would never know that if you didn't try it in the first place. So make it a goal, maybe once a month. Let's start out slow. Do something you wouldn't ordinarily do, or find something that you enjoy to do, but always keep having an excuse not doing it because you're alone. Well, why does it matter if someone's with you? Bring headphones, bring some music or a book and go have fun. Have fun. This next part applies to not necessarily percentage wise, but something that I'm going to talk about greatly here. The questioner asks about negative and positive harvests, ascension, graduation, whatever you want to ascribe to that paradigm. Ra explains 10% are negative, 60% positive, 30 mixed. Notes when a planet moves strongly to the negative, the opportunity for harvestable positive polarization is not a go. For it to shift positively, it requires a large degree of self-determination. Did my TikTok about this today. We are in a mixed harvest. We are shifting positively. The planet is shifting positively. We already know this. Intuitively and instinctually, we are moving forward positively. But there's the big but there are negative entities here in 3D, polarized negative, that will also ascend. They're not ascending necessarily, they're going to ascend with us in a larger sense, but they're going to a different plot. planet, sphere, existence, dimensional space that is not with us. Ra talks about Genghis Khan being a male clerk on some crazy planet, right? They are going to play out their paradigm that they chose with Source somewhere else, while we shift into what is the new Earth, what we deem it as a new Earth, which is not necessarily written yet, as we can always shift and make changes, but in a dimensional sense, it's there. Many of us in our light bodies have been working on the grid since we were born, and before we were born, we were preparing for this time. Many of us in our light bodies have already helped fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional spaces be prepared enough for us to manifest into them. But the mixed harvest is we're all gonna positively shift, and there will be some that negatively shift. I'm a very big proponent of that. Does the percentages weigh on the scales? I don't know how true the numbers are, and if they've shifted since then, in the 1980s. It could very well possibly be more than 10% of negative entities polarized negative and ascend. There is still a chunk of people that are not ascending, like we didn't ascend in Atlantis. There's a lot of people who are in physical form, not ascending. It's not their time. They're watching, just like we were the watchers back in Atlantis. They are going to be the watchers. They're going to watch us so that when they reincarnate and it's their time to shift, they're going to have that memory, that encoding, that awareness that they've done this before, they watched it before, just like we're getting the same now, if that makes sense. Brian Scott tonight spoke about that through another channeler through the Arcturians, but they say the same thing. I've been saying this without even knowing about that book. We're in a mix. I talk about the buildings, the negative and the positive, and there's a lot of people in the park in between those two buildings. And the light, the beings, us, are here to help those in the park join our building. If they're meant to go into this building, that's okay. It's still Source, and they will eventually have no choice but to shift into the light at some point in time. It is a smaller percentage of people who are really absolutely negative to the core. Just because a movie is playing out and someone's playing a role, their soul might actually be of the light. And they just chose to have an experience of negative polarity in this lifetime. We've done it in other lifetimes. We were the negative person. But on a whole soul level, how can you judge by a lifetime? That person might be a mass murderer. That person might be doing the most heinous shit. But we did it too. So why do we have this block? Because they say it. Well, they're killing children, Allison. They're eating people. Yeah, I get it. But you did it too. So should you be persecuted? You're talking about the ascension. You're talking about all these fanciful things that you're going to get and receive. But you were also bad in one lifetime. So does that determine this person in this life that they're negative? Just because they're playing out an experience and a role? Because Source wanted to have an experience. This is where a lot of people are getting stuck that need to come into neutral ground. Detach emotionally. Well, the kids, yeah, I get that. I understand it, the innocence of that. Totally get it. Okay. But they wrote a script for themselves to have an experience. Why? Good or bad, it doesn't matter. This is what they chose. We chose the same things. We don't remember If we did, we wouldn't be that much in judgment of other people for doing some heinous shit. Instead of feeding them the energy to keep perpetuating their bull crap, we need to come into the neutral space. Don't give it energy anymore. Stop feeding it. Stop feeding it. We're at the juncture of being stuck. It's a slow walk out. We already know this. It's a slow stair stepping out. We're stair stepping. But when you can emotionally detach from such concepts that keep you grounded in 3D, get your definitions on a higher maturity level, understand how reality actually functions, you will then see a broader picture and a broader truth. You will then stop feeding loosh to these beings who are doing the heinous shit. Because when they don't have their energy supply anymore, they can't manifest. They can't do shit. Allison, did you watch the Olympic opening games ceremonies? No, I didn't, because it's spellcasting. Why would I want to do that? Why would I want to be a part of the predictive programming like The Simpsons? Unbeknownst to many of us who grew up watching that cartoon, we were giving consent to the future shit they predicted. It manifested because we gave consent by watching it. And our subconscious created it on the outside world. Oh, well, there's all this technology and we can do all this looking glass and all that. Yeah, okay. That helps you start remembering. Who invented it? Go back to my quantum AI metaphysical ponderings, the last one, when I talked about med beds and like, I wouldn't jump in one if someone gave me the opportunity to right now, because it's a negative technology that was made by negative polarity. And until we do shift physically, all of us together in unity, then I would probably jump in one of the machines that was built in that timeline, in that shift. But right now, you wouldn't catch me in there if you wanted to. But you are the medbed. You are the quantum technology. It's a slow rollout so we all can understand and develop properly, not in a rush, our gifts. For mixed harvest, which I feel we're in, disharmony is apparent with added catalysts, earth changes. All these negative, horrible things going on in the world is just, it's a calling to the ones who know it in here to become service to others, to stand in their authority, their empowerment, knowing the light that is within them, to make a difference. How can one make a difference? There's multiple ways. Me speaking it out, you reading about it and talking to your friends about it, you going out and just seeding your little truths is helping this shift happen. Not feeding the disharmony, not being a part of the disharmony. It's over there. Leave it there. Yeah, it sucks when you go to the gas pump and you can't afford gas in your car, or go to the grocery store. That's why I planted stuff. It hasn't really come up yet. So I'm at the, but this is where service to others comes in. When you see someone in lack, not because you're speaking and manifesting that, but someone who's struggling, someone who needs assistance, people pick themselves up and do the unity. It's Amish mindset. This is what the Amish community does in their community. They call up, I need a barn move. 300 men show up and in unison pick up a freaking barn and move it. They didn't ask for any money. They do it because they're helping their community. And maybe at the end, there's a banquet and a feast that everybody partakes in for that great job well done. If we could work together in unity in that way, wow, the world would be such a better place. That's where Amish mindset. I watched a video that Santello guy did. It went to the Amish community just to, be curious and put it out there. This is what the Amish are about. And it's not about their religion and it's not about their ways of life, which would be beneficial for many of us to learn authentically how to do everything from back in the day. If technology crashed tomorrow, do you know how to garden? Do you know how to loom, make clothes? Like they know all this technology. Like they don't know the technology. They know all the primitive stuff. But the concept of coming in as a community, not putting anybody on a podium or a pedestal, because each of the community members brings something to the table. If someone got sick or someone broke their leg and the wife is with, their family and they have no one to tend to the farm because the kids are too young, other people from the community come in and do the farm work with not asking anything in return. Because they know that if something happened to them, other people would come in and do the same thing. This is the unity mindset and the consciousness that we need to achieve. And I know when I have it, I give it out. When someone orders from me, I give stuff also. I don't just give you what I add in a necklace or a keychain. I might add a little bundle. I might add a candle. That's money out of my pocket that I don't have to do, but I do it because I am thankful for the people that are buying from me. So I give them a little extra. That's my choice to do so. But I like giving back. When I have it, I give it. I've helped a lot of people financially. People helped me financially. It's a give and take situation, but we really need to come into that Amish mindset in order to move forward into unity consciousness, because that's what really it's going to be about, is being there for each other, not leaving anybody behind, making sure that everybody in the community is contributing to a greater whole and a greater mass. I think we can get there, but it starts now. This is something that they were talking, there's like there was a big session that August 12th, just about the whole section was about healing, and stuff that I've covered in other in other videos with my insights. But he said something that caught me. Crystallized healer has no will. So that's somebody who's developed a healing modality that's working straight with souls. There's no ego. It offers an opportunity without attachment to the outcome, for it is aware that all is one and that the creator is knowing itself. I speak about this all the damn time. You still have an ego, you still have your personality and your character. That doesn't go away, and it shifts and morphs when we transform. Very few people, I don't know any, but I'm sure there have been people and are people in the world that are very close to the not having ego and knowing all is one. I know all is one, and knowing all is source, and having source know itself. So when you're going out and doing your thing, you're doing it from your heart space with better intentions, but you're not willing anything onto another person. You're not trying to impede another person. You're trying to help and put the healing around them, and knowing all will be well because they are source. And the last part is August 15th, 1981, session 67. The window of quarantine, both polarities are able to enter into this paradigm as consciousness shifts. So as we are moving up in consciousness, because this is a mixed harvest, the good and the bad are coming and clashing. But if we don't focus on the negative coming in, like I'm being attacked, so I just take the bug spray and kill bugs all day. I've cleaned my house top to bottom, vacuumed extensively. There is a hole somewhere in my house in a window frame that they're just reproducing. I don't know where. Once I find it, it's getting plugged. But in the meantime, there are things here that are trying to affect me, and I'm sitting in just not giving it my energy. I'm just zapping them out. But both are coming in. That's why we are experiencing this ping pong match. But if we focus only on what we want and what you want, and what we want to have shift, not focusing on those things, we're going to shift humanity quicker. It's up to us. It always has been. We need to take our power back, not in a power over others' essence, power to help humanity. I think we can do it. And I can't wait to sift through more through the book. Even though I've started this journey with the Law of One in college, I read it in college. That's almost 20 years ago. And now I'm being introduced to it, but in a different perspective of even now that I haven't touched it in a while, but now because of my expansion and my aha validations and moments, and I'm like, now that I'm coming back to the book, I'm actually absorbing even more of a deeper meaning than when I read it a year ago. And then 20 years ago. I barely understood what I wasn't absorbing the deeper meanings when I first read it in college. I was just reading it to read it. And even like Nisha, when you actually dive into the deeper meanings of what things are, you get a whole new perspective and a whole new door opens up for you. So that's why I really don't give my books away too often. It's because I go back and find deeper and deeper things to expand upon and have epiphanies on. Like reading a lot of what I read today in the last couple of days, new levels. And it's time to bring it to you guys. And I really, really is the Law of One series. It's 5 books. For those of you who don't know about it, I already did book 1 and 2 Insights. Now I'm in the middle of book 3. This is the 40th anniversary version of the book. I like the hardcover. As we can see, it it's a little dinged. It's not the easiest book to read. there's a lot of concepts in there that you have to have an open mind for. You need to understand metaphysics to an extent. You have to understand Ra is not easily understood. And some of the questions are also a little boggled, but the essence of the work is ridiculously important. And a lot of other people do channelings on that law, not from Ra, but from a council, or the concepts are very similar. Their concepts are bounced and like half the books that I've read and half the books I have read. Very important work of expanding your thinking and how you think, how you go about your thinking. Things have shifted since the 1980s, but the same company that put this out, they are doing Quo. And that work is absolutely phenomenal. And I have some other books I have yet to, I did the Wanderer's Handbook, and that's a beautiful long book too. I do a lot of my insights on that book as well. There's another book that someone sent me that I have to read as well. But for me, books come in divine timing. And we need this one right now. So we're getting back into the law of one. So guys, thank you so much for all of those who are super amazing in support for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't say it enough, or maybe I don't say it in love and light terms. Oh, thank you. I'm being raw and I'm being honest. Thank you from the bottom of this heart. It means a lot to those who have stuck by. But October will be 3 years this channel is going, and I haven't really received the I'm almost monetized, so you might get some commercials eventually, but that's just another way of me earning a living. It's not much, to be honest. It really isn't. I'm not to the status where other people are, where they make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month with their video content. I'm not looking for that. I just want to be content. I just want my things to be paid for. I work really hard each and every day, and you know, other people might not see what I do as work, but when you're reading as much as I am and investing and meditating and trying to unravel what is happening in a spiritual context, it's a lot of draining work. Not gonna lie. So I want to thank everybody for supporting me. Please be the light. Sending everybody love, light, compassion, grace, shielding your protective energy. Please go within. Be the shoulder for somebody to lean on. Physically, be the lighthouse. Seed your truths. Be that ray of light. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much. And thank you, LL Research, for all the work that you're doing in helping us expand our consciousness. And until the next time, guys, have a great one and a great rest of a great start to your week, I shall say. Bye for now.